So hi, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me for this talk about special events and concerts and festivals. I'm really excited. I'm a little nervous. We're going to get through it together. And I'm really looking forward to kind of sharing all of the things that I've learned in my 21 years working in special events with a new group of people. And hopefully you all will take some of these tips and tricks, and you will be the new generation of event producers and festival producers and bringing the magic to the audiences who I found really crave, especially after, I shouldn't say after, we're still going through it, the COVID pandemic. People are really craving these live events. And it's an honor. I consider it an honor to be a part of bringing this joy to people who really so crave it. So I just want to give you a little bit of a background about me and who I am and what I've done, just so you kind of understand where I'm coming from. And so, excuse me, I'm currently the director of event management at Jazz House Kids. We're in New Jersey, here in the United States. We're a music education nonprofit, but most importantly, our biggest event is the Montclair Jazz Festival. And if you don't mind, I'd love to show you a picture of what the Montclair Jazz Festival looks like. And this year, we actually grew this event by a third from previous years. That's how much people really want to get out and hear live music and be at these really cool live events. I cannot be in full screen and share my screen at the same time.
So. Wait, should I turn off the full screen?
No, it's my full screen. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah. Give me a second. It's still early here. There we go. Now I can go full screen.
Wow.
Cool. So this was this year's Montclair Jazz Festival. We think we had about 20,000 people out on the street. We have 4 stages. We have, our emerging musicians paired with these really established and acclaimed artists. So this is what I do currently. But just, my background, like I said, I've been working in special events for about 21 years. And I have worked from, with the smallest grassroots organization where there were 6 of us working in the office trying to produce a theater festival, up to some of the biggest events of the country. Oh, sorry, I skipped this one. This was one of the smaller concerts that we did, just so you kind of see the range. It's not just these grand 20,000 people on the street kinds of events. Sometimes it's 100 people in a room with a piano. This is Diana Krall. This was in 2020. So there really is this great range of events to produce. And like I said, I've also worked on some of the biggest events in the country. So some very distinctly American holidays, but the 4th of July fireworks and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So when I say I've gone from working on events with 6 people working in an office trying to produce a theater festival to this is 4,500 people working on the street and 2.5 million people viewing on the street and another 20 million people watching on TV at home. So it's a range. There's a lot. And this, just because it's fun, this is what I actually do on Thanksgiving morning. So I still work on the parade in a little bit of a small capacity on.
This was this year?
This was this year.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
Yes. And let me stop sharing for a second. Cool. Okay. So anyway, that's what I do. So let me tell you, I know that you all are involved in music and music business and performance. And so you've all been to concerts and festivals, and you've seen what it looks like from an audience perspective. But what does it look like from the planner's perspective? How do you get from, oh, I think it's a cool idea to throw a music festival, to 20,000 people on the street watching your 4 stages of music? And there's a lot of planning that goes into it. But what happens when you get to your event day and things are not going exactly as you planned? And I think it's important to share those stories as much as the success stories, so that you can kind of understand why the prep is so important and why the attention to detail and going through all of the steps, what impact that has. And I'm going to show you a fun picture. Okay, guys, so what happens when you wake up on event morning and you have an outdoor festival and this is what your street looks like? This happened. This is a picture from 2018. This was supposed to be the Montclair Jazz Festival day, and this is what it looked like at 7 a.m. that morning when our festival was supposed to start at noon. A state of emergency had been declared in New Jersey because of the weather. There was severe flooding everywhere. There were thunderstorms, thunder and lightning. And I had production trucks waiting to load in. I had all of my staff members waiting to get ready for this event. And we are all standing in a parking lot, kind of looking at each other saying, what do we do now? So this is where kind of the skills come in. And one of the things that I found is super important is surrounding myself with supportive and smart people, because you come together as a group and you figure it out. And you use the hand raise.
Oh, yeah. Mateusz, yeah.
Hello. Also, thanks a lot for the insights. Maybe a question that's a bit more general, and you are very well informed in the event and concert business. Where do you see the pandemic impacting live events in the future? Are we really going to move more towards online events? And do you see those the move to online events?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and something I've given a lot of thought to, because it really affects the trajectory of my career and just live events in general. What I've found here in the US is that people don't want to be viewing concerts online anymore. We were very successful during the pandemic with getting an audience for our online concerts and events. But I think people are done with it. And especially, I work for a nonprofit, so all of our events are geared towards fundraising. That's our goal. And people don't want to pay $100 to watch a concert on their computer. I think that what I've learned from just my my colleagues and the different groups that I belong to about event production is that hybrid events are definitely here to stay, so that people who are perhaps on the other side of the country can enjoy some elements and participate in some way, but that's not going to be the main way of producing events the way that it's been in the last 18 months. It's also very expensive to produce an online event and even more expensive to produce a hybrid event. We're in the process of planning a concert in February with Norah Jones. And this is going to be our first indoor event since January of 2020. But we found that during the pandemic, we gained such a big audience of people in other states that we don't want to lose their sponsorship, which is a little different from people buying a ticket. And I can explain the difference in a second. So we are not only producing a live in-person event, which, you know, you get the costs of all of the rentals, all of the catering, the food, the wine, producing an event for people who are right there with you. But also now I have to contract with a videographer, you know, and audio capture, the live stream, making sure that the internet is strong enough to live stream, and having all of that equipment in a room where I used to fit 250 people, but now I can only fit 200 because I've got 5 cameras in the room. So it does create a lot of challenges to continue to produce online concerts and events now that, and I really can only speak for what's happening in the United States and in New Jersey and New York City, where I know that in Austria, you all just got out of another lockdown. Whereas here in New York and New Jersey, everything is really starting to open up. So you know, the situation might vary depending on where you are in the world. Did that answer your question? Sorry.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Matthias, you had your hand up before.
Yes. First of all, appreciate your time. Thank you, Jennifer.
You're very welcome.
So I would love to hear from a woman's perspective in the industry, you know, how it was back then and how it is, how the progress went. Yeah.
That's a great question. And as much progress has been made, it's still a struggle. And I'll admit that. There are definitely times where the male voices in a room who are saying the same exact thing I am are heard instead of mine. And it's challenging. Yeah. But I am proud to be a female leader. And that I know you can't say I'm a little, I'm small. I'm only, you know, like 5 foot and I like, and people are very surprised that I am like a force of nature, and that this much energy kind of comes out of me. And so I try and use that energy to not be overwhelming, but to really let my voice be heard, and to really break the stereotypes that a woman who speaks up for herself is aggressive or, pardon me, a bitch. And that's not what it is, because it's interpreted differently when a man says it. And so I'm proud to be part of the generation that is breaking those stereotypes and being a successful leader in this world and in the world of events and the world of music. So it's still a challenge. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's still a challenge, but we're working on it.